It's so, let me think about it. It's actually so good that I have to think about what makes me dysphoric, because before I transitioned, I could probably list about 50, you know, straight away. But now it's kind of good that I have to sit and think, because there's technically only a handful of things that make me dysphoric straight away, so that's good. I guess I have rather small, thin eyebrows, and cis men usually have thicker eyebrows. Maybe that's the thing. I mean, it's so nice to not immediately be bombarded with ideas of what I'm dysphoric about. So that's a start. That's always good. Hey there my dudes, I am Laddie and welcome to another video. In this video I've got this new pimpin' backdrop. I've recently done up the bottom floor of my house, so even though it's still kind of messy, at least I have a place to sit and film and all that cool stuff. So in this video, as you've probably seen from the title, I'm going to be speaking about dysphoria, which is something I don't feel like I often speak about now that I am rather established on testosterone. But I wanted to make this video to say that yes, even though you go through your transition, and I'm just going to say right now, I am so much more happy with my body and myself and my dysphoria now that I have gone through a big chunk of my transition and I've had top surgery, and I'm at a point in my life where I'm happy where my body is, but I still get dysphoria. And I wanted to make a video speaking about, even after 3 years of transitioning on testosterone, what still makes me dysphoric, because I think it is important to discuss some of the things, like speak about how testosterone is not a fix-all for all of your dysphoria. There is a lot of mental progress you have to do at the same time, and I'm going to speak about what still makes me a bit dysphoric. So there are many different things that I'm sure everyone would love to change about themselves, but with trans people, I guess it ends up being a lot more gender-based around the times of different parts of transitioning. I guess one thing I could mention, which I mentioned in a previous video, is my facial hair. Might not make much sense because yes, I am so happy with the facial hair I've got now, and the fact that like it is grown so much, more than I've ever had in the past. Having a look at my facial hair under the lower lighting, you can sort of see that it grows in more. So yes, even though I have way more facial hair than I've sort of ever had, sometimes because it's patchy and it's got like, it's a bit, you know, fluffy in texture and it's not quite all the way up my cheeks yet, I get a bit dysphoric when people who have more defined and more, like cis men who have more defined beards than me will be like, oh, look at that, isn't that like a bit of puberty bum fluff? And I'm just like, please don't say that to me. That makes me feel, you know, so like the fact that it's not properly grown in because I haven't gone through this particular stuff. Of course, I'm appreciative of my facial hair as it is. And I just made a video where I was sponsored by a company that, with this roller kit that I use, and it helps me fill in this area, and it's been helping me fill in this area. So I'll put it in the iCard, link it down below. Go check out that video. I have like an affiliate code for getting the beard roller thing. But I've been using that to help me fill it in, to help with my dysphoria, and it's really helped my facial hair personally go from almost nothing to starting to be more filled in. But yeah, I still get dysphoric with that kind of stuff. One of the other things I'd say is my face size, not just the facial hair. For me, the facial hair has really helped define and make my jawline feel a bit more masculine and my face a bit bigger. But when I shave my facial hair, or not even when I shave my facial hair, just in general, my face is like small. Like obviously it's hard to see comparison to my body, but in a way I'm quite a small person, so I have like quite a petite face. And that makes me feel dysphoric, because I know a lot, it just makes me look like a bit of a smaller, petiter human, and it makes me feel like I look trans, whatever the hell that means. And I think it's mainly from people who have been arseholes in the past, basically, and have told me, oh, I can tell you're trans because of this, because you've got a smaller face. And I hate that my mind goes to that, but it does with dysphoria. And there's not much I can do about that. My height as well, I'm 5'6". I'm okay with my height now. I'm officially decided to call myself a short king, and us short kings should be proud of our height. But sometimes there'll be scenarios where I'll be around loads of cis men who are much taller than me, and I'll be like, small boy over here. When I was out the other day though, I was wearing these heels, which are absolutely beautiful, and I was so tall and I absolutely loved it. So sometimes I'll wear big shoes, and depending on like how I'm feeling with my height, I'll wear big shoes, and sometimes I'll even wear heels, which doesn't really help with the passing thing a lot of the time, but you know, whatever. But generally I don't mind my height because I think it works well with me, being like taller than most girls, shorter than most guys. For me and my own dynamic, that works. Obviously that's all based on, you know, stereotypes and things of who should be taller and who should be shorter, but that's just my personal preference. So I've gotten to terms with my height, but it sometimes does give me a bit of dysphoria when, especially when people joke about it and I'm just there like, but generally I now, especially this year, don't mind so much my height. I've kind of gotten to love my little body, even though I just spent like 5 minutes in a video speaking about it. One thing that also makes me dysphoric, and I feel like this might be my own brain, is my voice. So often, because I understand I sound rather camp sometimes, I'm posh, which makes it worse. So the poshness and the lisp makes my campness sound even more Louis Spence. And then I speak rather high in my throat sometimes, which makes my voice sound higher. And like sometimes I try and speak rather low and like this and a bit slower so that my voice doesn't sound so high. I was going to make a video about how I speak more masculine and deeper in tone, and you have to speak further back in your throat. But usually when I'm speaking in a video, I'm talking a bit more like this, and it makes me feel dysphoric hearing myself back sometimes, because in my own head, I feel like I sound on the verge of like when I was back like 6 months on testosterone before that, and I don't know why. And let me know in the comments down below if you guys get the same thing where you hear your voice back and it sounds higher than when other people hear it. Anyway, that still gives me some dysphoria. I'd say my general size gives me dysphoria because I'm like a smaller human, and like I'm not exactly very big boned. Like I'm quite a small human. You can't see it on camera because of the proportions, but generally, you know, I'm rather small. Not even just the fact that I'm small, and I like when I'm at the gym, I often feel a bit around the cis men. I feel a bit insecure and I can't help it because I'm just not used to that kind of look and not having people look at me because I'm wearing a binder and things like that. But one of the things that really gives me dysphoria, and I'm gonna have to take my shirt off, on my chest. So it might look fine from the front, but you can see here on my chest, when I turn, like it's kind of fine this way, but when I turn sideways, there's like this bump here, and you can really see it when I'm wearing tight fitted clothing, especially at the gym. And so whenever I'm at the gym or I'm out and I'm wearing tight fitted clothing or I'm shirtless, and you can see that bump from surgery, because I was going to get rid of it, but then apparently the scars would have joined up and I really didn't want that. For me, it's really noticeable. No one else seems to notice it, and I'm sure no cis person in the gym knows what it is, you know, to have that bump there with having top surgery, and it's most of my dysphoria, I'm sure, is just internal stuff from me being so used to having dysphoria and binding and being very conscious about whether I've binded enough, you know. So yeah, I'm pretty sure most of it is all residual stuff, but that gives me dysphoria. One of it still gives me dysphoria is I still have, so like my waist is very thin and then my hips are still a bit bigger than my waist. I personally don't mind the structure so much now that I've built a bit more muscle mass up here, but it does give me that little bit, especially when I'm shirtless and the way my body is, it does give me that little bit of dysphoria as like the way the bone structure works in my body that hasn't quite redistributed fully yet. But with a lot more working out, and the same with my thighs, I have I'm thick, but no, but I have like thick thighs. I don't know why. I guess maybe the fat redistribution hasn't happened yet, but I'm 3 years on and I know I've got a few more years until of big changes before things start to slow down when you hit about 5 years on T. But yeah, I've still got a lot of fat that stays on my legs. And I don't really know how to get rid of it, and I work out a lot, and I don't even have that high, you know, body fat percentage, so it just happens that where the fat clings, it clings around, still clings a bit around the hips and the legs. But I don't know when that'll change or if it'll change, but you know. My most recent case of dysphoria that I actually felt was I was in makeup, and if you guys have been on the channel for long enough, you guys know I like to wear makeup occasionally, and I will be making another video of me doing makeup and doing sort of a mix of masculine and feminine looks. So I usually do masculine contour, and I contour the cheeks like that, and then I do some sort of mildly feminine eye makeup. So I love that mix, and I keep my facial hair, and you know, it's very gender bendy and expressionate, and I feel super confident when I'm wearing it. I'll put the last look I did up on screen just here. With this look, I really loved how I looked. That didn't make me feel dysphoric. Wearing the makeup and having my eyes super feminine and all of that kind of stuff, and the lip gloss and everything, doesn't make me feel dysphoric. Sorry, my cat just walked in the room. Hi, sweetie pie. Hi. What are you doing, baby? I know. Okay, well, this is the rest of the video. I don't feel dysphoric when I'm wearing that, but when I was out, I walked past, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I had like full facial hair, and I know that doesn't necessarily mean anything to do with gender and pronouns, but I had full facial hair, you know, my arms are a bit more of muscular stature, and my shoulders are wider, so I was passing to everyone else I was seeing, and I don't know if the guy actually meant it as in me, but the bouncer, when he let me through, he said, because I was walking to a table to meet some friends, he said, oh yeah, she's just walking through. And I didn't know if, I mean, he could have easily not been talking about me, but my trans ears twitched up to she, and I was just like, who said that? And I heard him say it behind me, and I was just like, how can he think that I'm, you know, she, with the way that I'm, yeah, I mean, it was just my own dysphoria playing on itself, but I remember twitching my ears up and being like, did he just call me she? And that made me feel dysphoric. But even though I mostly pass, sometimes things happen where people incorrectly judge what my current pronouns are, and I know I've spoken about possibly being gender fluid, but that doesn't actually correlate to how I dress. So there are some times where I want to dress in makeup and in a particular sort of feminine eye style and things like that, but I still want to be referred to as he, him, and yeah, that made me feel dysphoric, but nothing about makeup makes me feel dysphoric, which is different. I'd say there's one last thing which I wanted to put at the end of the video really that makes me dysphoric. I don't necessarily get bottom dysphoria, but if I've forgotten to pack, I sometimes get dysphoria because I think, oh, people are noticing that I don't have any bump. Man bump. And so I get a bit dysphoric with that, but also I want to say testosterone doesn't always stop and I'm going to be speaking about biological things and you know, cycles, so if that triggers you, just skip to the end, or just, you know, leave the video and subscribe and like and comment and all that good stuff. But at the moment, yeah, I was very lucky that my period stopped day one. I was meant to get my period a few days after I had my first testosterone injection 3 years ago, but day one, I mean, it stopped. Like, I never got it again. However, whenever I take my hormones, I take Nebido every 3 months. Whenever I take that, it causes me to have like a mini menopause, because the estrogen that was in your body is stopping, and then it's getting overridden with hormone blockers and testosterone, and your body goes through a little, and because of that, I've been having some issues with things happening that are reminding me of when I used to have menstrual cycles, and it's only a slight thing, and I won't go into the details of it, but because I have to focus on sorting it out and, you know, buying things that are seen as feminine hygiene products, I get very dysphoric during those times, and it can cause certain areas to be sensitive and react. Well, it just makes that area a bit awkward to deal with, and I have to keep an eye on it and go to doctors about it, and which is why I was tempted to get a histo so that my ovaries would stop reacting funny, because they react funny and then things happen, and yeah, every time I start my new bout of testosterone. And at the moment I've had an issue with that, and it makes me really dysphoric because I have to think about all of that stuff, and I don't want to. I want to be able to go out and do things and live my life like, you know, dudes do, without having to worry about the whole how the ovaries are working and clashing with testosterone and stuff. So that makes me feel really dysphoric. But hopefully it'll sort itself out and I won't have to go through another operation of histo, because I don't really want to do that right now. I think that's everything that makes me dysphoric still 3 years into my transition. And as I said, I'm very privileged to be in my situation as a trans man, 3 years on testosterone. Not complaining about it at all. I am so happy with where I'm at. Just my mental health has improved so much now that I'm 3 years on testosterone, and I've gone through a lot, but I've also worked out how to deal with a lot of things, and I'm just much more of a jolly person than I used to be. And a lot of it is to do with my transition, but obviously I wanted to mention for people who are the same level or into testosterone or into transitioning and they're still feeling dysphoric, it's bound to happen, and you're not alone. There are many things that I'm sure would be amazing if I could click my fingers and be tomorrow or change today. But at the end of the day, I think it's best to think about how your body is unique. There's no one else like you, and even though yes, there are some things that you can change, like by taking testosterone, I've changed a lot about my body, which has really helped me. Sometimes if there are things you can't change, like I can't change my height, I can't change my face and head shape, I can't necessarily change how deep my voice can go at the maximum. I can change it a little bit, as in I can train my voice and I can wear big shoes and, you know, I can contour my face so it looks more masculine. There are so many things you can do that won't change it permanently that can help it a little bit. But if there's something that you can't change, you need to start learning to accept it about yourself at this point in a transition. And I've learned to accept my unique body type. Especially the fact that I don't want bottom surgery, and how my body type is unique, you know, and that I don't want to be anyone else. And even though yes, I work out and I still want to make my body look a bit more masculine in terms of working out and stuff, I have learnt to accept and love myself for who I am in the moment. And that sounds very hippie, and it takes a lot of work to deal with that and deal with the bad mental health and self-consciousness. But yeah, I recommend everyone giving it a go. It's not easy, but you know, yeah, it takes time and a lot of patience. But I hope all of you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below what else you would like me to do a video on. I will see you soon. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. This is our tune.